She's on the National Youth Leadership Council's Youth Advisory Board. She's been very active with the Sunrise Movement. And then here in New Jersey, she actually formed a group called the New Jersey Student Sustainability Coalition. So she's the founder and chair of that group. She reached out to organizations, youth-led organizations throughout the state, signed up over 20 of them, and working together, they're trying to get students more involved in the environmental process, and that seems to be going very well. She's also president of her high school environmental club, where she has worked effectively with the administration to improve the recycling procedures in effect at the school. It seems to be everywhere she goes, she makes an impact. She's also been very active in terms of lobbying. She's gone down to Washington. She's also lobbied various people here in New Jersey, including our congressman. Where is he? There it is. She also worked on his campaign, and so she realizes how important the political process is. She's worked on, organized, and spoken at various rallies, protests, marches, and she also was largely responsible for 2 climate strikes this past year in Morristown, one in March and one in September. I attended the one in September, and she gave a powerful, inspiring speech. I was, so impressed with that, and I looked around, and based on the applause that she got, I think I was not the only one. We're really very lucky to have her on our side, and expect great things from her. So at this point, and Anya, please come and join me. Yeah, true.
Is this good? Is this okay? Okay. What a lengthy introduction. The first thing I want to start with is just a lot of gratitude. I definitely have not gotten here alone. I have not gotten here just because of my own self. I have had the support of countless mentors, family members, organizations. There are so many people who have helped me do all the things that I've done. So nothing happens alone in activism. So that's my first message. And I also have learned through my family, my grandparents, who are sitting right there, they've really taught me to never take anything for granted. So it's a real privilege to be here and to do all this work and receive an award like this. The 3 things that I want to talk to you about today are, number 1, I think it's so important to recognize the role that training and investing in young people's leadership plays in building a strong, resilient environmental movement. Because I know that I would not be where I am today if I did not have so much training and if I did not have resources like attending a summer camp called Youth Empowered Action and working with an organization like the National Youth Leadership Council that really trains young people about how to find their voice as a leader and how to figure out where you fit in to the larger landscape. So I think it's incredibly important for us to recognize that we need to put our time and our money into the leadership of young people and to not just support them with words, but support them in making sure that programs like that can continue to exist, making sure that programs like the Sierra Student Coalition can continue to educate, making sure that young people like me still have the resources to do our activism. That's an incredibly important step. The second thing that I want to talk to you about is the importance of forming effective and meaningful youth-adult partnerships. I think it's really possible to work together across generations, and I think that's the only way we will be able to tackle tackle the climate crisis. So I would say, don't use the rhetoric anymore of, oh, the young people, they're leading, they got this. That's not something that we want to hear. But we're willing to learn from each other. I know that young people, we don't know it all, and there's no, I think that's a misconception that young people are very arrogant. I think we're just really trying our best because we are so afraid of what is to come in our future. The third thing that I wanted to speak about was how important it is to continue treating climate like it is the emergency that it is. When I talk about climate change, I talk about a very real future that I imagine. I'm thinking about 2050, when I'm going to be 47 years old. And there are reports that have been out that show that we might be facing worldwide extinction by 2050. So when you're making decisions about, what do I spend my time doing? Where do I put my money? Where do I put my energy? I'm thinking 2050, are you?
2030.
So we need to do as much as possible in these next 10 years in order to make that happen. And along with treating climate like an emergency, I just want you to get a sense of perspective and what that means for me on a day-to-day basis. The past weekend, I was visiting a college, and because I'm a senior in high school trying to apply to college, and everyone else was going bowling, and I decided to go take a call to organize the December 6th climate strikes. Last year, on my birthday, I decided to go down to DC to do a sit-in at Nancy Pelosi's office about the Green New Deal. And it's definitely a common sight to duck out of social events early because I need to call someone or send an email. But the reason that I do all that I do is because I'm fighting for my future. And I'm not just fighting for the future of us here in New Jersey, but also the family that I have in India and the people that are all around the world that are right now being displaced from their homes because of the climate crisis. So when I talk about climate crisis and when you hear the whole list of things that I'm doing, I'm not doing it for myself, I'm doing it for the world. And I think we all need to start treating the climate crisis like the crisis it is. And the last thing that I just wanted to talk about is having a vision for what we do. And I think what makes it so exciting for me to do activism is because there's a community there. There are people who believe in this so passionately. We have the opportunity to save millions of lives if we are able to reduce warming from 2 degrees Celsius to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So our work matters, and it's really important to make sure that it's exciting for people to join into, and that we have this very compelling, vivid vision of what that future world looks like. Because that is what's going to get our generation to mobilize, because it can be so daunting if we don't do that. It can be so overwhelming, and it's really difficult to do any kind of work for a better future if you don't have a sense of hope and vision. So I think moving forward, we need to continue to communicate with that sense of vision. And so, yeah, those are my messages. And I'm really grateful again just to be here today with all of you. I know that this is definitely an audience and you're all advocates for climate change, so I'm definitely preaching a little bit to the choir. But yeah, I'm so excited to continue working together, to continue building up the New Jersey Student Sustainability Coalition. We have 200 students involved right now in over 30 schools. We're looking to grow, expand, partner. It's going to be great. It can be so powerful. Can you imagine that young people are going to be leading the next moment in environmental history that New Jersey has? So, yeah. Thank you.